Please, 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 Jesus, don't be in NATO. Now, in order to get our old borders of Iran, which is one of the things I wanted to do, we need to take eastern Turkmenistan, we need to take western Afghanistan, and then the Baluchi part of Pakistan, as well as the Caucasus. So, as I said last time when we left off, we need to work a little bit more to develop up our military stockpile, get our tech a little bit higher, and then we're going to probably start a war with the CSTO, including Russia and stuff, to take back the Caucasus, which will be very brutal. All our equipment is modern, but I wanted to wait because the big issue is I want to get some stockpiles on them. We have a lot of big stockpiles, but it's all of older equipment, so not going to be super useful when we have to fight Russian tank divisions. RGC Aerospace Force, we'll work on that. Let's start to infiltrate the Russians. They don't really have much defense from the looks of it, actually. That's surprising. See, Hoi 4 is just one of those games that it will demand your soul and extended periods of time for you to get good at it. It's like chess, except chess is way more socially acceptable. If you tell someone that you've put 5,000 hours into chess and you're a grandmaster, they'll be like, oh, wow, you must be really smart. Oh, that's cool. But if you're like, yeah, I had 5,000 hours in this game called Hearts of Iron, you get to simulate World War II by moving divisions around on your computer, they'll be like, that's cool, man. Budget estimates. Our current budget shows we have more than plenty to provide our population with free universal education that is coldly focused, and we still have a surplus. We got a new special forces out as well. Let's get them trained. I realized last time we were playing that we really don't have a lot of divisions. I thought we had way more than we did. Like, for what we want to do with Russia, we're going to need a lot. Well, let's go down our equipment route now. Re-equip the road police. Since the 1979 revolution, we have done extensive reorganization to the police force, with the merging of the Sharbani, the Gendarmerie, and the Islamic Revolutionary Committee into one force, the Faraja. We have about 600,000 officers in our service and very little budget allocation. Most are under-equipped for the ventures we are attempting to do, so we must equip them with the latest weaponry. Don't mind if I do. Let's get another research slot as well. This we will need for Russia. Now, let's go for satellites first. We really need that, though. Their area is going to chew us up. I'll show you why. We have, I think, yeah, we're looking at like 3 to 5K fighters. We currently don't have many. We have 450 air superiority fighters. We've got top of the line. I would hazard a guess and say our aircraft are even better than the Russians. But when they're coming at us with 5 times our fighters, okay, we'll infiltrate the Navy. And then let's go ahead and steal some military blueprints as well. Aha, we've got the corruption to 6. I'm just continually raising it in the US. We did the same thing to Saudi. It crippled their economy. I bet they're at a huge deficit from all that corruption too. Let's look. Yeah. Oh man. Negative 45 billion. Our fleet is pretty significant, I will say. I would be curious to see if we could actually even contend the Russian at least Black Sea Fleet. I think we could probably contend that. The Amin Military Academy. The Amin Academy is a police academy in Iran affiliated with a law enforcement force of Islamic Forces of Iran. The academy, Iran, has provided training courses for police forces from 16 countries. All right, let's continue. We'll do one more corruption campaign on the US, and we're gonna go ahead and steal naval blueprints from them. No, we'll wait on that. When we're done with this, though, we are going to move our spy network. We're going to maintain, we'll leave one agent in Washington to maintain that network, and then we're going to send everyone else to Russia, because we have to start getting prepared there. Go for better satellites. I want to get us as advanced satellites as we can, and then I'm going to produce, hopefully, a bunch of those so we have a satellite network going into the war of Russia, because that'll be huge. Imagine being, like, a tanker, a Turkmeni tanker, using probably, like, what, 60s Soviet-era tanks? Staring down the barrel of a modern, like, Iranian fucking state like this. All right, let's do this. Very large-scale reforms. Now that the exam has been dealt with, we must, 2 M's, must begin reforming our education system to adjust and account for the changes we have made, although the reorganization process will have some temporary negative effects. Well, let's get that out of the way before we start the war of Russia. Whoa. The United States just declared war on Jordan? I don't think the Americans will be able to succeed in a naval landing if we garrison it. Then again, I also said we had a chance to win when we were fighting the Americans in Iraq, so... All right, let's start to infiltrate the Russian government. So network up to, we are up to 76%. Very, very nice. The current budget that we have allocated for our bureaucracy is inadequate, as the current structure is only the most basic for day-to-day functions. We need to expand the budget if we are to look like a competent, functional government. All right, we have a large contingent of special forces helping to guard the port of Aqaba against any potential military invasion. The University of Tehran. The University of Tehran is the most prominent university in Tehran. I would hope so. And it has been ranked as one of the best universities in the Middle East and is among the top universities in the world. The current school has about 52,000 students attending, and the facility has complained of overcrowding. We must expand the current campus to ensure efficiency. Well, let's do the Ministry of Science and Research. The Ministry of Science, Research, and Technology is the government ministry of science, research, and technology in the Islamic Republic of Iran. I would hope so. State-run universities of Iran are under the direct supervision of Iran's Ministry of Science, Research, and Technology. The ministry was established in 2000 when the Ministry of Culture and Higher Education was renamed into it. We'll get a little bit more research speed and we'll reduce our education costs, which are high, so that's useful for the economy. Speaking of the economy, we are in a deficit, and we need to raise taxes. So they actually don't have as many air superiority fighters as I was worried about. It looks like they actually probably only have around 1,000, and they're not the really good ones. A little less than 500 multi-rolls, which we will outtrade by a long shot. They've got a lot of strats though, so like I said, we need to build up our anti-air. Official contracts for students. Some of our students have done so well in the Concours exam in the university that we should consider contracting them to work on behalf of our government so we can utilize their knowledge for ourselves. The Hong Kong protests. Protests against Chinese actions in the territory of Hong Kong have rapidly increased, which analysts widely agreeing that the protests have entered a new stage in terms of scale and tactics. How the Chinese and Hong Kong governments will respond to this new escalation remains to be seen, but officials in both governments are reportedly increasingly resentful of the impacts of the protests on their vested interests. The protesters, for their part, are refusing to stand down until the Chinese and Hong Kong governments address their demands. Nanotech advancements. Iran has recognized the significance of nanotechnology like other pioneering countries and started its activities in line with the development of the technology. Iran's success in achieving a proper place among 15 countries which are advanced in nanotechnology and making attempts to promote the position and a bit to develop Iran's economy are the main missions of the Iranian Nanotechnology Innovation Council. Prepare a collab government on the Russians? No, let's infiltrate the rest of their systems first. We'll infiltrate their army, and then we'll infiltrate their navy as well. We'll send Sahid and Shapra. Major financial institution fails. Headlines have broken about a major financial institution going bust. The media is running rampant with this and heading for the hills. The government is being begged for a response as fears of larger crises are on the horizon. What should we do? 217 billion. Fuck! We just pumped 217 billion into the economy and it didn't do anything. We're just like copying Obama's strategy in 08. Just throw money at the economy and hope something works. Folks, that's oh man. I may have been ignoring the economy a little bit, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, we need to rush political power. We need to get out of stagnation. I need to increase corporate tax rate, max out the population tax rate, and then after that we'll put up our economic cycle all the way up to the top. We need to get into surplus, and then we need to pay off a fuck ton of our debt. The axis of resistance refers to the anti-Western Israeli, Saudi political and informal military alliance between Iran, Palestine, and the Syrian Assad government, as well as Hezbollah. Oh, it says that. Government and the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. Despite the differing ideologies such as secular Baathism, Sunni fundamentalism, and Shia Islamism, they are unified by their goal of opposing NATO, Israel, and Saudi Arabian activities in the region. So currently, the state of Iran is such that after a decade of war, conquest, military expansion, and economic expansion, the Iranian state has more or less found itself dramatically overextended for what it is. Although the military heads of the government have been planning up a war case scenario for the Caucasus and Russia, the complete recent collapse over the last month of the Iranian economy has made it very clear that that is not a good idea or going to happen. At this point, our government's basically just experiencing probably widespread protests as the economy is just collapsing, as the quality of life has somehow even got worse. And as it is clear that the current government is unable to do its job, I'm just not gonna take a focus until we get out of our current situation. Like, our government can work on anything until we get this dealt with. We'll just take all that political power and just let it build up and hopefully get out of stagnation. We really do. We need to get out of that. The Tehran International Permanent Fairground is a large outdoor space dedicated to the exposition of Iranian products, maybe industrial, scientific, military related, with 34 active exhibit halls hosting more than 60 different exhibitions every year. Yeah, we have a full-blown tech crisis at this point. We're gonna cut our military spending. We don't have a choice here. Expanding the Tehran International Permanent Fairground. Okay, what do you want to do? We can do our industrial advances. We can do our military advances or a scientific one. We'll do industrial. Please, 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 Jesus, don't be in NATO. Yeah, they're fighting Armenia and they're fighting the Greeks right now. No, they're not in NATO. Okay, we're gonna join this war. Turkey, you actually did something good. I didn't think you did, but you did. With that debt we have to work on now, though. We'll get it. It'll just take time. I really don't want to engage their navy. I want to take it in the peace deal. We're gonna annex all this ourselves. These are our historical borders, so. Immediately demands a bailout. Anytime you get any level of diplomatic relationship with Greece, you are going to be asked for a debt bailout by the Greek government. I'm gonna keep decreasing the corporate tax rate, and I'm gonna use that extra production power to produce a lot more office complexes that will give us lots of taxable income. Accelerate social mobilization. Currently 60% of Iran's wealth is controlled by just 300 people, with about 45% of the country being working class. Now that we have undone the brain drain, the individuals who have achieved higher education can now begin to pass down their wealth. Slowly increasing our middle and upper class population, though we could ease the process by creating programs to accelerate this mobilization. That's cute. That's cute. They think that'll happen. Aha! We did. We got rid of Iranian brain drain. That was really bad. Iranian brain drain was really hurting us, so that's fantastic. The plan is we're gonna outbuild our deficit. We're gonna just basically build up a giant corporate hub in Tehran, which we can now afford because we have a very middle class and modern economy. We're gonna basically go into a slight deficit and utilize all of our civs to just build the office complexes we need to have the income to offset our deficit. That's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna go the dangerous route, but it will in the long term be more beneficial to us.